Most people think of aging as something that just happens, something inevitable, something out of our control. But what if I told you that the way you age, how fast or how slow, has a lot more to do with your daily choices than with your birth certificate? One of the most powerful ways to slow down aging and even reverse some of its effects is by eliminating the very things that accelerate it in the first place. And at the top of that list are sugar and refined carbohydrates. Now, I'm not just talking about candy and soda. Sugar hides in places most people don't even think about. Bread, pasta, cereal, packaged snacks, even so-called healthy foods like low-fat yogurt or granola bars. And when we consume those foods regularly, especially as we get older, we're feeding a process in the body that quite literally wears us down from the inside out. This isn't just about weight or blood sugar. It's about inflammation, oxidation, and hormonal disruption. Three of the biggest drivers of aging. When you eat sugar or high-carb foods, your blood glucose spikes. That might give you a quick burst of energy, but what follows is a sharp crash. And repeated crashes over time create chaos in your metabolism. But even worse, those constant spikes trigger a process called glycation. That's when sugar molecules attach themselves to proteins and fats in your body, forming something called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs stiffen your tissues, damage your skin, harm your blood vessels, and accelerate the deterioration of your organs. In short, they age you. And that's just one part of the picture. Sugar also feeds chronic inflammation. You might not feel it right away, but over time it shows up as joint stiffness, brain fog, fatigue, digestive issues, or even cardiovascular problems. Inflammation slowly breaks down your tissue and interferes with your body's ability to repair itself. That's why so many seniors find themselves declining in energy, mood, and mobility, and often they're still eating what they think are normal foods, not realizing the damage those carbs are doing behind the scenes. Then there's the issue of insulin resistance. As we age, our cells naturally become a little less responsive to insulin, the hormone that helps shuttle glucose into our cells for energy. But when we eat sugar and refined carbs every day, we overload that system. The pancreas has to produce more and more insulin to keep blood sugar in check, and eventually the cells stop responding altogether. That's insulin resistance, and it's not just a blood sugar problem, it's an aging problem. Insulin resistance is closely tied to memory decline, belly fat, fatigue, and even loss of muscle mass. So what happens when you take sugar and refined carbs out of the equation? Everything begins to shift in the right direction. Without sugar constantly spiking insulin, your body becomes more sensitive to it again. That means more balanced energy, fewer crashes, and better fat metabolism. Inflammation starts to calm down, your joints feel looser, your brain starts to clear, even your skin improves because glycation slows and collagen breakdown is reduced. And most importantly, your cells begin to operate the way they were designed to, efficiently, cleanly, and with much less stress. When you remove those constant carbohydrate hits, your body doesn't just survive, it starts to thrive. It taps into stored fat for fuel more efficiently, which supports weight loss without muscle loss. Hormones rebalance. Growth hormone increases, which supports tissue repair and lean muscle maintenance. And one of the most remarkable benefits? Autophagy. That's the process where your body cleans out damaged cells and replaces them with newer, healthier ones. It's your body's natural recycling system, and it's one of the most powerful anti-aging mechanisms we have. But here's the catch. It only kicks in when insulin levels are low, which means it happens when you eliminate sugar and refined carbs from your daily diet. It's not about extreme restriction, it's about replacing the foods that accelerate your decline with foods that nourish your longevity. When you stop feeding the body with quick burning fuel and start giving it clean, efficient nutrients, the shift is almost immediate. Energy improves, mood stabilizes, sleep gets deeper, and the number on the scale finally begins to move in the right direction, not just because you're losing weight, but because your body is healing at a cellular level. This isn't about going on a diet, this is about changing your fuel source. Sugar and refined carbs are like gasoline on a fire. They create short bursts of power, but leave behind smoke and damage. Zero sugar, zero carb superfoods, on the other hand, are like clean burning fuel. They support every system in your body without the side effects. And when you make that switch, you're not just managing aging, you're actively reversing its effects, step by step, bite by bite. Because the real secret to aging well isn't in a pill or a cream, it's in the food you stop eating and the food you start choosing instead. Once we begin removing sugar and refined carbs from the diet, the next logical step is replacing them with something better. Foods that don't just avoid harm, but actually promote healing and longevity at the cellular level. That's where zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods come in. These aren't just trendy terms or empty health fads. These are nutrient-dense, inflammation-fighting, cell-supporting foods that can actively work with your body to reverse aging from the inside out. When we talk about aging, we're really talking about cellular damage. Over time, the wear and tear on our cells from toxins, stress, poor diet, and environmental exposure adds up. Mitochondria, which are the energy factories inside our cells, start to slow down. DNA damage accumulates, inflammation becomes chronic, and repair mechanisms that once worked efficiently begin to lag. That's why we start to feel more tired, weaker, stiffer, and less mentally sharp as the years go on. But what if certain foods could help reverse some of that cellular damage? What if they could actually support mitochondrial health, reduce oxidative stress, and trigger your body's natural repair systems? That's exactly what the right zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods can do. And what makes them so powerful is that they don't interfere with insulin or blood sugar. That means they work with your body's fasting state, not against it, which is crucial when you're trying to trigger deep cellular repair like autophagy and hormonal balance. One of the key ways these superfoods help slow aging is by supporting mitochondrial function. The mitochondria in your cells produce ATP, the energy currency of your body. As we age, these mitochondria become less efficient and more susceptible to damage. Certain superfoods like fatty fish, organ meats, and leafy greens are packed with nutrients like CoQ10, B vitamins, and healthy fats that nourish and protect mitochondria. When your mitochondria are supported, your cells generate more energy, and that energy translates into clearer thinking, better muscle function, and more vitality throughout the day. Another powerful benefit of these foods is how they influence inflammation and oxidative stress. Chronic inflammation is a silent killer. It's the underlying factor in nearly every aged disease, heart disease, Alzheimer's, arthritis, you name it. Zero sugar, zero carb superfoods are often rich in antioxidants and essential fatty acids that actively reduce inflammation in the body. This means less pain, better joint health, improved digestion, and reduced risk of chronic illness. And then there's the bowl of autophagy. That's the internal cleanup system that clears away damaged cells, misfolded proteins, and cellular debris. When autophagy is activated, your body literally recycles its worn-out parts and replaces them with new functional components. But here's a catch. Autophagy only kicks in when insulin is low and there's no sugar present. That's why sugar-free, carb-free superfoods are so important. They allow the body to remain in a state that supports this deep healing process. It's one of the few strategies we have that's truly anti-aging at the root level. Think of your cells like a garden. Sugar and processed carbs act like weeds. They choke out the nutrients, disrupt the soil, and leave the roots struggling. Zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods, on the other hand, are like nutrient-rich compost. They nourish the soil, support the roots, and help the entire system grow strong and resilient. You're not just removing damage, you're rebuilding something better. And it's not about perfection. It's about making choices that compound over time. One nutrient-dense meal, one superfood-rich snack, one replacement of sugar with something more healing. That's where it starts. You don't have to get everything right on day one, but once you start introducing these foods and removing the damaging ones, your body begins to respond. You may notice your energy lasts longer throughout the day, your skin starts to look clearer, your digestion becomes smoother, and even your mood stabilizes. The beauty of using these zero sugar, zero carb foods is that they're compatible with any healing strategy. Whether you're fasting, doing keto, carnivore, or just cutting out processed foods, these superfoods fit in. They don't spike your insulin. They don't cause inflammation. They support every organ system in your body, from your brain to your liver to your joints. They allow your body to rest, repair, and regenerate without interference. What we eat has a direct effect on how we age. Every bite either accelerates the clock or slows it down. And by focusing on foods that support our cells, that keep our hormones balanced and our immune system calm, we take control of that clock. We're not just avoiding disease, we're building strength, clarity, and energy that lasts well into our later years. Because when you give your body the fuel it was designed for, aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean growth, strength, and new vitality. Now that we understand how sugar-free, zero-carb foods can support cellular repair, reduce inflammation, and activate the body's own anti-aging systems, the next step is to get practical. What exactly should we eat? One of the best superfoods that truly nourish the body without raising blood sugar or without triggering insulin and without feeding the inflammation and oxidation that accelerates aging. The truth is, these foods aren't exotic or hard to find. They're real, nutrient-dense, time-tested sources of fuel that our ancestors thrived on. What makes them super isn't a fancy label, it's their nutrient profile, their compatibility with the human body, and their ability to heal at a cellular level. These are foods that don't just feed you, they rebuild you. Let's start with sardines. They may not be flashy, but they are one of the most powerful anti-aging foods on the planet. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which fight inflammation and support brain health. They're loaded with natural calcium, which helps keep bones strong, critical as we age. They contain high-quality protein, vitamin D, B12, selenium, and even a form of CoQ10. All of that in a tiny fish with zero carbs and zero sugar. And because sardines are small, they don't carry the heavy metal load you find in larger fish. Eating a small can of sardines a few times a week can dramatically improve joint health, brain clarity, and energy production. Next is liver, and I know many people shy away from liver, but the nutritional value is unmatched. Liver is nature's multivitamin. Just a few ounces contain more vitamin A, iron, folate, B12, and copper than most people get in a week. These nutrients are vital for cell repair, red blood cell formation, hormone balance, and detoxification. It's a zero-carb superfood that supports every major system in the body, especially the skin, eyes, and immune function. Even if you have it just once a week, the anti-aging benefits are incredible. Then we have pasture-raised eggs. Eggs are the perfect package of amino acids and healthy fats, and they contain choline, which supports liver and brain function. The yolks are especially rich in fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K2, which are essential for hormone production, calcium regulation, and skin health. Eggs also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect your eyes from age degeneration. They're filling, versatile, zero-carb, and deeply nourishing. Another overlooked superfood is seaweed. Sea vegetables like kelp, nori, or dulse provide iodine, a mineral most people are deficient in, which supports thyroid function and metabolism. They're also high in trace minerals that support detox and immune function, including small amounts of seaweed in your diet helps support hormonal balance, reduce inflammation, and maintain energy levels without any sugar or carbs. Bone broth is another powerful option when made properly. Slow simmered with marrow, bones, cartilage, and connective tissue, bone broth provides collagen, glycine, proline, and glutamine. These amino acids support gut healing, skin elasticity, joint health, and even sleep. Collagen naturally declines with age, which is why we get wrinkles, joint stiffness, and loss of muscle tone. Drinking a cup of bone broth a few times a week can help rebuild that structural integrity from the inside out. Then there's olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats and antioxidants, particularly one called oleocanthal, which has anti-inflammatory effects, similar to ibuprofen, but without the side effects. Olive oil supports cardiovascular health, brain protection, and cellular repair, doesn't spike insulin or glucose, and when used in cooking or as a soluble vitamins from your food, fermented vegetables like sauerkraut or kimchi are another zero-carb option that support longevity in a very different way by nourishing the gut. Gut health is linked to nearly every part of aging: digestion, immune response, mood, and even skin clarity. Fermented veggies are packed with probiotics, enzymes, and organic acids that balance the microbiome and support detox. A few tablespoons with meals can make digestion smoother and improve nutrient absorption. Finally, there's spirulina. This is a blue-green algae that's incredibly rich in protein, iron, chlorophyll, and B vitamins. It helps detoxify heavy metals, boosts energy and supports immune function. It's especially beneficial for older adults who may have reduced appetite or trouble getting a wide variety of nutrients from whole foods. Even a small serving of spirulina powder added to water or a shake can give your body a huge nutritional lift without sugar or carbs. Now, you don't need to eat all 8 of these superfoods every day. What matters is rotation, variety, and consistency. Mix and match them based on your taste and routine. Add liver to your meals once a week. Have sardines for lunch. Stir collagen into your tea. Add sauerkraut to your eggs. Use olive oil generously. It's about creating a foundation of nutrient-rich, zero-carb, zero-sugar foods that feed your body what it needs to stay strong, sharp, and resilient without feeding inflammation, insulin spikes, or cellular damage. Because the right foods don't just feed your body, they reverse the damage and bring your health back to life. So knowing what to eat is powerful. Knowing why to eat it gives you purpose. But real transformation happens when you actually do it, day after day, in a way that fits naturally into your life. That's where most people get stuck. They learn about all these amazing zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods. They get inspired. Maybe they even go out and buy them. But a week later, they're right back to toast, cereal, and snack bars. Not because they don't care, but because the change didn't feel sustainable. So let's talk about how to make this simple, realistic, and lasting, especially for seniors. The first thing to remember is that this isn't about an overhaul. You don't need to flip your whole lifestyle overnight. In fact, you shouldn't. What you want is a quiet shift. A slow integration. Think of it like replacing old bricks in a wall one at a time until it's strong and solid again. The key is to identify where in your day you can make simple swaps that add up to massive change over time. Let's start with breakfast. This is usually where people consume the most sugar without realizing it. Toast, fruit juice, sugary cereals, flavored yogurt, all of these spike insulin and start the day off in fat-storing, energy-crashing mode. But you can flip that. Instead of toast, have a few eggs cooked in olive oil. Instead of orange juice, have herbal tea or lemon water with a pinch of sea salt to support minerals. A spoonful of sauerkraut on the side adds gut support, and some avocado gives you healthy fats to keep you full. That's a zero-carb, zero-sugar meal that doesn't feel like a diet, it just feels clean and energizing. Now think about lunch. This is a perfect time to bring in those nutrient-dense superfoods like sardines, liver, or a boiled egg salad with olive oil and seaweed flakes. Even something simple like a handful of walnuts and a few slices of turkey can be powerful if you're on the go. If you're making soup, swap pasta or rice for bone broth and chopped veggies. You can throw in some collagen or gelatin powder to boost joint and skin support. These aren't gourmet meals. They're practical, nourishing choices that can fit into any routine. For dinner, the goal is to keep insulin low, digestion smooth, and nutrients high. A grilled piece of salmon or beef liver with steamed spinach, some butter or ghee, and fermented veggies like kimchi can create a deeply satisfying, anti-aging meal that's completely free from sugar and refined carbs. And if you're used to dessert, consider breaking that habit gently. Try a cup of herbal tea with cinnamon, which can help regulate blood sugar. Or sip bone broth as a relaxing mineral-rich nightcap. Over time, your cravings will shift. The body stops begging for sugar once it's truly nourished. Now here's a tip most people overlook. Make these changes pleasurable. If the food feels like punishment, you won't stick with it. Season your meals well. Use spices like turmeric, black pepper, rosemary, and thyme, not only for flavor, but for their healing properties. Use quality salt. Buy the best olive oil you can afford. Cut your veggies with care. The more love and intention you put into the process, the more connected you'll feel to your health, and the more likely you'll be to stay consistent. Another big part of making this work is mindset. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about following strict rules or punishing yourself for eating the wrong thing. It's about understanding that every bite is either feeding your energy or draining it. Every meal is a chance to support your joints, your memory, your skin, your strength. And the more you feel that, the easier it becomes to make the better choice. If cooking is a challenge, there are shortcuts. You can buy pre-boiled eggs, canned sardines, pre-cut veggies, and frozen bone broth. Many grocery stores carry organic liver sausages or pâtés that are easy to spread on a cucumber slice or lettuce wrap. Fermented veggies come ready to eat. Even spirulina tablets can be taken quickly if you're not a fan of the powder. The goal is to reduce the friction so the right choice becomes the easy choice. Some seniors feel overwhelmed by change, especially if they've eaten the same way for decades. But here's the truth, the body responds at any age. Whether you're 60, 70, 80 or beyond, the cells are still listening. When you feed them nutrient-rich, carb-free, sugar-free fuel, they begin to regenerate. Your joints move easier, your energy lasts longer, your thinking gets clearer, and suddenly the idea of aging doesn't feel like decline, it feels like opportunity. So don't overthink it. Choose one meal and make it count. Add in one new superfood this week, replace one sugary snack with something nourishing, and then build on it slowly and steadily, because aging doesn't have to mean slowing down. It can mean waking up, rebuilding, and becoming stronger than you've been in years.